So I was wearing my microphone, around my chest today, and it hits like right here. And I took a big deep breath out, and I go, and it hit the mic, and it sounded like thunder. And I was like, "Oh, guys, this is really cool. Listen, when I breathe, it's like thunder." And I go.
This is a great story, Elyse.
Anyways, I liked it.
Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Vow to View, your Doof Media podcast, all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together, we're the Dailies.
Yes, this is the podcast where each and every week my wife Elyse and I pick a movie and make each other watch it. This week...
Or something.
Sometimes
we just make each other watch things.
Yeah. Then we sit in front of a microphone and we talk about the movie and we talk about ourselves because we love to talk about ourselves.
We just love to talk.
It's true.
Yeah, I do love to talk about myself.
Not only do we love to talk, but we love to know that other people are listening to us talk.
Yeah.
It's like voyeurism, but for talking.
Because Scott just has to hear me talk all the time. And I think that he gets kind of bored of hearing me talk. And so it's like, well, maybe other people should hear me talk too, because I don't have enough people hearing me talk on a daily basis. If you think about how many kids hear me every day, I need some adult interaction. So I have to, have these podcasts so that adults can hear me and they can know how cool I am too.
I just want to share you with the world. That's why I do this.
That's sweet of you. You don't want to keep me all to yourself?
No.
You don't love me that much?
You're too...
Or you love me enough to share me?
How did you turn that
around?
Do you
love me enough to share me or to keep me all to yourself? And which one really means you love me more? That's a good question. What do you think?
Both of these are bad attitudes to have.
No, I think that one of them has to be good. Maybe one of them is bad. I don't know.
I
think they should... I don't know. Maybe they're both good. But maybe no, it's not good for you to keep me to yourself because then the world doesn't know who I am. So maybe it's better that you love me to share me. That's good. Thanks for sharing, babe.
That was incredible.
What?
This week, we decided to pick movies that neither of us had seen before.
Oh, yeah.
And we're calling this our classical blind spot episode. It's probably the first of many we're going to have.
Yeah.
But so you picked a movie that neither of us had seen.
I did.
But
we saw the trailer.
You wanted to see, and then I picked a movie that I'd been meaning to see for a very long time. So on this episode, we're going to talk about both those movies and talk about what we thought about them. And then, of course...
Then we're going to talk about some other stuff too, huh?
Yeah, we got some roses and some
like
thorns coming up.
What are we going to talk about, huh?
I'm not going
to talk like that because...
No.
I'm going to talk like that podcast. The whole time that we're doing your movie.
All right, Elyse, before we move on to the roses and the thorns, we've got to do...
The Bachelorette in Paradise. Bip. Bip. So this week in Paradise, gross. Guys, it was an eventful week. We have Benoit, Jenna, and Jordan as our new love triangle. We also have Joe the grocer, Leo, and Kendall. Really, the story with Benoit is that Benoit and Jordan get at it, and then Wells is all, no, Benoit didn't yell at Jenna, and Jenna just can't make up her mind, and then she made up her mind, and then she just gets sad because now she doesn't have both guys to kiss, and then Benoit's like, you can't make that decision for me. Anyways, Benoit ends up leaving because he kisses Chelsea, and Chelsea just didn't really, like him that much. Then we have the whole Joe, Kendall, and Leo triangle going on. And, I really had liked Leo on Becca's season. The stuntman who played dodgeball and was just really not given a lot of screen time, he had kind of grown on me. And then he comes to Bachelor in Paradise. And he is a complete tool. And evidently, I had not known this, but I follow a bunch of people in the Bachelor franchise. But Ashley Spivey is one of them, and Becca Martinez, Pixie, from Ari's season is the other. And they had posted about a lot of sexual harassment allegations against Leo. And also Leo sending unsolicited dick pics to women. And then there's just a lot of stuff that has come up about him. And he's been very hurtful and mean to a bunch of people, both on the show and through social media. And my just whole opinion of him has changed.
Are you saying a person that on this show is not a good person?
Yes, I am. And I'm saying that this is the second person that has had sexual harassment allegations against them that was on the same season, too. We had Lincoln that we talked about, and then now we have Leo. And so I just don't think that ABC is doing a good job of getting people on the show who are quality people.
Elyse.
What?
They don't care.
I know that they don't care, but I think that I just go back to if they are going to have someone's actual future entrusted to them, then they should take a little bit better care about the type of people that they put on.
Why?
Because it's someone's life.
They don't care. It makes them money whether they stay together or not.
They should care.
Why?
Because.
Why?
If they get so many of these allegations and people get so upset about it, it's going to ruin the show.
Is it?
Yeah, it will. I think it will.
The show's been going on for, 15 years?
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. But I don't know. I don't know if more people on the show are just getting cast like that, or if now it's just with the amount of social media that we have, people are now bringing it up more.
I think it's part of the Me Too movement, too. People are more comfortable in pointing this stuff out.
Yeah.
And people suck, and people willing to appear on a dating show and get married on television are probably not like the best people in the world.
I guess.
Especially the ones that agree to go on Bachelor in Paradise. Look, I didn't know about the sexual assault allegations against Leo. That sucks. He's an asshole. But I loved his performance on the show this week.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was such a douchebag. And it's like he realized I didn't get any screen time on Bachelorette because I was just a normal looking good guy. He was a
wallflower, yes.
Well, he was just normal, and the normal people don't get any attention. So he's like, what can I do to get attention? Oh yeah, I can be the evil one. And that's what he was. And he got a whole 2 hours centered around him. So mission successful, Leo. Well done. I'm sure that's going to help your stuntman career. Good job.
Who I really liked, though, was Kevin, the Canadian. I couldn't remember the 3 things that he listed when he went up to Leo and he admitted to being the person that had told Kendall that Leo had gone and kissed Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then in the off-camera thing, Kevin was talking about how, in the words of Justin Trudeau, Canadians are 3 things. What 3 things did he say? And it was just like spot on. I could not stop laughing.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Trudeau said to Trump.
Those were the 3 things.
Yeah.
Canadians are 3 things. They are kind, respectful. I don't know if those are 2 of the 3 things. I have no idea. But it was just perfect because Leo was being completely horrible and Kevin was being level-headed. And yes, I think that if you're going behind the girl's back who you are, quote unquote, investing in, and you're going and kissing other people, then she has the right to know. And if you're not going to tell her, then yes, someone else should tell her.
His whole thing was fucking hilarious because he's like, who snitched on me? Who snitched? And I'm like, dude, there are cameras everywhere. And like 30 producers that are trying to instigate drama. Like someone told the Canadian guy to go tell this girl that he was kissing someone else. Like there's the idea that you're going to throw a hissy fit on a show that's on television about someone telling someone else what you did is hilarious because everyone knows what you did. You're on TV doing it. And when they call cut at the end of the recording session, they're all hanging out in the green room afterwards. It's such bullshit. This show sucks. I hate it. It's almost over, I think.
I think it's a couple more weeks.
2 more weeks of this shit. All right, Elyse. That's enough of that.
I do kind of think, last thing, it would be interesting to be one of the manipulators on the show. I kind of think I'd be good at it.
That's troublesome.
Anyways, that's it. So moving on, Scott.
Except we're talking about and
the roses and the thornies.
Elyse.
Yes.
This is the part of the show where each and every week we talk about the thing. I say the phrase each and every week a lot. I need to work on that. I need to get that one out of my vocab.
Think of what else. What else can we say?
This is the part of the show where we talk about the things that happen to us during the week.
You wanted to say each and every week.
I did not.
You stopped it.
Some of them good, some of them bad. These are our roses.
And all thornies. And my rose this week.
What is your rose,
my rose this week? Well, I had a substitute for half of a day today, and my substitute allowed me to get all of my informal reading inventories administered to all 26 of my students. And that, for a teacher, is just absolutely amazing, because if you think about the fact that it took me 2.5 hours to do that, and I was going back to back to back with all 26 of my kids, and normally I have to do that during my class period, and that's one-on-one time, and then trying to keep every other kid quiet and on task. It's just a lot. And this year our principal gave us a substitute for a half a day each in order to get that done. And
how nice of her.
It was amazing. I felt so accomplished at the end of the day, and I actually had a meeting after school, and she was there, and I went up and I told her, I was like, thank you so much for that substitute, because I got through all of my stuff and it was amazing. Cool. And she felt really excited that happened too. So I'm hoping tomorrow the other half of my team will get the opportunity to do it. Today it was me and then one other teammate, and so I'm hoping that they have an exact the same sense of accomplishment that I did today. It was just felt so good to get all of it done. And it's almost all entered in the computer, and we're good.
Hooray.
Most of my students are in an independent 7th grade reading level, so I'm not going to have to administer another one to them come fall.
7th grade?
Yeah.
Nice.
It is. It's really good. I've got some good readers this year.
Me too.
Yeah. But
I'm
what was
7th grade reading level.
Oh, it's good. What was your rose, though, this week, Scott?
Seeing what you were going to say to that, and you rolled with it. It's very political. My rose this week is chicken wings!
From where?
You make them.
Oh, me?
Yeah, so I think this is when we were on Whole30, right? We were on Whole30 a couple months ago, and we were always looking for
new exciting recipes.
New recipes that are good, and you found this recipe for Whole30 compliant chicken wings.
Yes.
So they are not fried.
Nope.
They're not breaded. They're baked, right?
They are baked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you make these things a lot because they are delicious, and you made them on Tuesday, and
lemon pepper mustard barbecue.
Babe, best batch yet. Best
Thank you.
batch yet.
I'm getting better with
We
them.
just had a big old dinner after we finished this podcast. I'm gonna go eat chicken wing.
Are you really?
I'm gonna go eat chicken wing.
Okay,
they're
you
still
can do
good.
that. I know, they are delicious.
They're just delicious. You have you cook a lot of meals, and I really appreciate it. But
I do.
There's 4 things that are in your rotation that are some of my most favorite foods of all time.
Let's share them. What are they?
There's the chicken wings.
Yes.
There's the Brussels. I don't know.
The creamy Brussels.
Creamy chicken Brussels sprouts.
Chicken Brussels sprouts, yes.
And then there's creamy chicken into the broccoli. That's a different creamy chicken.
Yes.
And all these things are Whole30 compliant.
Yeah.
So the creaminess is not milk. It's not cheese.
It's nutritional yeast,
it's
brown spicy mustard, and coconut milk.
Mwah.
With a little tapioca flour in there, too.
Mwah. Nom, nom, nom,
It's pretty good.
nom.
Sometimes cashews.
Yeah. I can't remember the 4th one. Maybe it's just 3.
Is it the taco salad?
Taco salad's pretty good. Taco salad is not I'm not gonna put it.
I like
it's not.
I just like the plantains.
It's not rose-worthy. The taco salad.
Oh, dang.
It's
Okay.
not thorn-worthy. It's just a good, quick meal.
It is. It's just easy to do.
Yeah, and it's good for us.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for the chicken wings, baby.
You're welcome.
Let's go negative. What's your thorn for this week?
I really didn't have a whole lot of things to choose from. I've had a really good week.
That's privilege in action.
I know, and I'm very thankful that I've had a fantastic week, and so I just had to find something that was on the scale of good to best, not fantastic, but it wasn't something that just really irritated me. I had one night this week where it was really hard for me to go to sleep, And that was about it.
Elyse?
Evidently, I'm really funny when I'm trying to sleep. It was just, it got to the point where I cannot keep my eyes open anymore. My eyes are so tired. They have to close. But the entire rest of my body is so wide awake that I cannot relax in order to sleep. So I just toss and turn a lot, and I get really frustrated, and I start making.
Can I tell the story?
Yeah, you can tell it because you saw it.
Yeah, because you're asleep. You don't know what you do.
I'm not asleep. That's the whole part.
Yeah.
I'm not asleep. I couldn't sleep.
Elyse goes to sleep way before me because, as we learned last week, she gets to work at an ungodly hour when I am not even out of my bed yet.
I get so much done. It's incredible.
So I am usually up much later than she is. We go to bed about the same time, but I'm usually up for 2 to 3 hours reading in bed.
That is true.
Elyse will wake up. Elyse gets so frustrated when she can't sleep. And it's not like adult, like normal human frustrated. It's like 7-year-old throwing a temper.
You get a glimpse into what I was like when I was a child, I'm sure.
I
get that all the time with you too. What? Go ahead. Continue.
You throw the blankets off of you in a big huff. And you go,
because I hope that helps.
And then you start flailing your arms and legs around.
Because I'm trying to get air everywhere.
I don't understand how that's going
to... And I think that it's going to help because I think that the only reason that I can't sleep is because I'm so hot.
It's a temper tantrum. You're throwing a temper tantrum.
I'm not throwing a temper tantrum. It is a temper tantrum. It's not a temper tantrum. I'm trying to exhaust my body because it's not exhausting itself right now. So what can I do to make my body exhausted? And so I do things like that, and I flail around. And you could just scratch my back, and then maybe that would make me sleep. So next time, let's try that. Okay?
No.
Thanks, babe.
You smack me when you're throwing your temper tantrum.
I do?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I did that.
All right.
But I'm not acknowledging that it was a temper tantrum, so we're not getting past that.
Absolutely was.
Anyways, Scott, what was bad for you this week?
This week, you know what, babe?
What?
I had an early meeting.
You did?
Monday morning.
Ugh. Monday morning early meetings?
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's fucked up, right?
No one should meet on Monday mornings.
So I got into work a little early on Monday.
Yeah.
To prepare for my meeting. 15 minutes before the meeting, canceled.
Oh, bummer.
Which, the thing about canceled meetings is, like any adult, canceling plans always secretly makes you feel good because that means you don't have to do anything anymore.
Yeah, except when you got to work and prepared.
Yeah. Rescheduled for Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Today. Get
Canceled?
To work. Have to re-prep because I've forgotten all the shit that I was supposed to say in the meeting today. 15 minutes before. Canceled.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then I see the guy in the halls today at work. And he's like, hey. And I'm like,
what about that meeting, huh?
I'm not that confrontational, but I give him the what the hell look. And he's just like, yeah. Like he knew what I meant by the look.
Yeah, he knew.
And he goes like, I swear I'm gonna get with you on that. It's not even rescheduled. And if he scheduled this for Friday, I'm gonna say no.
He scheduled the meeting and then canceled it and then rescheduled it and then canceled it.
Yeah.
So what does he need to meet with you about?
I don't even know.
Oh, you don't even know?
No, I know. Oh. I know. It's a lot. I can't. I'm not at liberty to say.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, but it's just annoying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
That's my thorn.
To you.
It just he took the thorn and he just shoved it in my.
He just twisted
ear.
It.
Like a thorn in the ear. That probably hurt, right?
Sticking sticks and thorns and weird.
I don't know. You'll have to ask the guy
body.
that keeps canceling the meeting.
That's weird. Anyways, well, that sounds like a bad thorn this week. But we are done talking about our thorns, and now we are going to go to the main event, Scott.
And
what we are all here for.
And it is your turn to go first this week because we're taking turns now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be talking first about Flower Drum Song. It is a 1961 musical written by Jacob Joseph. It was written by Joseph Fields.
Jacob Jingleheimer.
It was directed by Henry Koster, based on the Rodgers and Hammerstein Broadway play of the same name, and
which actually was based on a novel.
Yes. So another adaptation. See, everything is really based on a story of some sort that was already written. It is a A movie about a young woman who arrives in San Francisco Chinatown from Hong Kong with the intention of marrying a rakish nightclub owner, unaware he is involved with one of his singers. Is notable for having an almost entirely Asian cast. It's also the only Rodgers and Hammerstein adaptation that lost money, which is very interesting. But the reason that I had originally picked this was because the weekend before, we saw Crazy Rich Asians, and this was in the early pre-show at the Draft House, and I'd never seen it, and thought, you know what? It's a musical. I love musicals. I would like to see this movie. And I will say, going into it, I was thinking, I wonder what some of these songs are in here that maybe I've heard before, or songs that might have just been less popular, but listening to them, I enjoyed them, you know? And so I was really going into it thinking, I'm going to like the music of this because I like other Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals. Hammerstein musicals. Anyways, so I was actually surprised that I was not a big fan of the music, but that could be why, you know, this musical I don't think is as popular as some of the other ones. And I'm just saying that because of my own musical knowledge. It has not been something that I have known a lot about. I did recognize I enjoy that I liked a ton about this movie was that the choreography was amazing, and I loved the set, the costumes. A lot of the songs had those like dream sequences that I thought were very fun in the movie, and again, they had really good choreography in all those, but that was what I was most impressed with. It was not the singing. Not that they didn't have good vocalists. It was just that the songs were not my type of Broadway song that I latch on to. But all of the costumes, the set pieces, and the choreography were exactly the type of stuff that I loved. And so I enjoyed it. Probably wouldn't be on like my top 10 list of musicals that I like of all time.
Jesus. I think there's a lot of musicals that wouldn't be on that list.
I think that there are
all but 10 of them.
Well, yes, but it's not one of my favorites, but there are things that I definitely do love about it. So if I were to ever have to choreograph something for a dance of some sort, this would have a couple of different group numbers that I would like to go to and kind of see a couple of things that they did and maybe take some of that. It wasn't choreographed by Fosse, but I think that you could really tell that some of the things that they were doing in the specific scene where they had the parade in the street and they had that dance number, that those things were kind of reminiscent of that. So I don't know. I really liked it, that part. But what do you think?
Yeah, this is a weird movie. I don't think it's very good, and I agree with you about the music. Like, I don't think the music's particularly catchy.
Yeah.
Besides the one song that I had heard of before this movie, I don't think any of these songs are particularly memorable, with maybe the exception of the Chop Suey song is pretty good.
I am happy to be both Chinese and American.
You are like the Chinese dish the Americans invented. What do they call it? Chop suey. That is it. Everything is in it, all mixed up.
I like that. Chop suey, chop suey. Living here is very much like chop suey. Hula hoops and nuclear war. Dr. Salk and Zsa Zsa Gabor. Bobby Darin, Sandra Dee and Dewey. Chop suey.
Yeah. I think there's a reason I enjoy being a girl is a song that I've heard of before because it's a really catchy tune. And
it was popularized by other artists.
I had no idea that was from this movie. But yeah, a bunch of other artists performed this song, and that's where I originally heard it. But no, I mean, it's this movie where you can see the cultural significance of it. I mean, they did go out of their way to cast predominantly all Asian people. Like, I think there's like a couple Caucasian people in this movie, and one of them's like a criminal. So they don't really like. This is a movie about Asian culture, and it's just like, I think, Crazy Rich Asians. This is very much a movie about dealing with the difference between, Asian American culture and in this case Chinese culture, old world, quote unquote, Chinese culture. And I think, for 1961, for a movie to be doing this was a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. It's also a little bit racist. It is very much a 1960s white people interpretation of what Asian culture is. And again, we have to go back to this idea every time we watch old movies that we can't judge them based on today's standards. But I think that's why this movie's so fascinating to me, because it's in this weird place between being one of 3 movies that are predominantly featured by Asian American actors and actresses. I think there's Joy Luck Club and
the one that just came
Crazy
out.
Rich Asians.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else, any American made movies. So, I mean, that's a huge deal, and that's culturally significant. And I think this movie, the fact that it was not successful, hopefully did not set back that cause, although I think it probably did. But I don't think it's because it was an Asian American cast that it did not do well. I just don't think it's a very good movie. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the show. I don't know how well the show performed or not. But the movie, it's very clunky to me. Like the plot. So the plot is kind of convoluted. So the idea is this woman and her grandfather, uncle, father. Is it her father? It's her dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
They come to America illegally. They sneak aboard a crate, which is very timely. We should get ICE to send them immediately home, right, Elyse?
Oh yeah,
that's what we do.
They definitely would.
So they come to this country illegally, and she is promised to this owner of the nightclub, this guy Sammy. He's in love with his main singer, Linda Lowe. So he sends her to the house of some guy he knows who has a young son named Wang Ta, hoping that they'll get together and fall in love. But Wang Ta is actually in love with Linda Lowe, and it's this kind of convoluted, it's almost like, it's not a comedy of errors, but it's almost like this love square, where
pentagon, because then you have the seamstress that comes.
Oh my God, that poor seamstress who's secretly in love with Wang Ta.
Yeah, in the book has a horrible end.
Yeah, she commits suicide in the book.
So sad.
So yeah, I mean, it's and I don't think with the exception of a few of the songs, with the exception of the songs we like, with the exception of Chop Suey and I Enjoy Being a Girl, the breaks between the acting and the music never seems smooth to me. It's always kind of awkward. And I think this is in musicals in general, I think the transition from non-musical scene to musical scene is always a little bit awkward. It's probably one of the hardest parts. How do you convincingly move from people sitting on the couch having a conversation to them dancing around the couch in tap shoes? But I think the best musicals find a way to make that transition a little smoother and more natural. And I think this movie is very clunky. It's kind of like the characters almost just stop and go, okay, it's time to sing my song now. And then they do it. And it just,
well, Scotty, hey, Scotty, let's just take a break and sing and we'll dance all night long.
Sure, exactly like that.
Well, Scotty, let's take a break and we will sing and we'll dance the whole night long.
So yeah, this is awkward because
you're not playing into
there's
it.
There's no transition.
No, it wouldn't have been awkward if you had just jumped into it.
I'm thinking about Singing in the Rain because I think that's a movie that handles those transitions beautifully. I think the talking kind of melds right into
Well, it's also the type of songs that you have and how you decide to place them. Because I also was thinking of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and about how they have that whole scene at the barn raising that they're singing and they're dancing and it's just like
there's ways to do it. There's many different ways to do it, and I just think the way this movie tried to do it, this wasn't that good. And
there are a lot of things that I also wonder, like what you had echoed or said earlier about how I don't know if in 1961 it would be really interesting to have either talked to someone who had come out at that time and kind of given us a little bit more of a glimpse, I guess, as to was this maybe not as big because of some of the things that were going on in the world, the conception of having the all Asian cast in 1961, or was it like, I don't know.
I read some reviews written in the 60s of it. They were largely just critical of it as a film. I think some of the reviews even acknowledged the important cultural milestone, but they just said it was a clunky film. Some people that were critics that were familiar with the Broadway show said it was a very
it wasn't
messy
a good adaptation.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Which is weird because the guy who wrote the screenplay, I think, was also the guy who was like uncredited for writing the book for the. I mean, obviously Rodgers and Hammerstein did the music and the lyrics, but wrote the actual show book for the Broadway show. So
I do think it's interesting though, because sometimes I do agree that Broadway shows are better, and then if they like start as a Broadway show, adapting it to TV can be difficult,
it's
especially if it was so
it's like
popular.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm thinking like West Side Story, and
I love West Side Story.
I know West Side Story was fantastic, both musical and stage.
awesome.
But even like the Newsies, I guess that was flipped to where it was a movie before it was a musical, and I think that transition is always a little bit easier than from stage to screen.
Think, a show, the story of a show is built around the medium it's told via. And one of the most difficult parts of adaptation is, in any kind of adaptation, which we talked about a lot last week, is finding a way to take that same thing and transition it to the new medium. Like, everyone's talking about how bad they want a Hamilton movie. Is that going to work? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work, because so much of the success of it as a musical is around the pieces of, like, Hamilton is a thing that's entirely told in song. There's two non-sung words in that entire thing. So that thing, I think, from an adaptation standpoint, is going to be a challenge, and I don't envy the person tasked with that. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think I can't comment on that specifically because I haven't seen the show. But that was what some of the critical response was. I also saw some more recent criticism that was very critical of its portrayal of Asian people, which is not surprising at all. I think the default reaction to me when I saw this thing and said, this is a Rodgers and Hammerstein musical that I had never heard of before, my default reaction was, oh, it's probably because it's Asian. That's why I haven't heard of it. It's because no one cared about it because it was non-white people, which is probably a pretty pessimistic viewpoint. I think that's probably still part of it. But I think at the end of the day, it's just not a very good movie either. It's one of those things that I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I was aware of this thing, and
we own it now.
Yeah, we had to purchase this, so we had to again. I think Nancy Kwan, who plays Linda Lowe,
she was really good.
She's very good. I mean, she was like you're right. You're absolutely right that the choreography was great across the board. But
the little brother was
the
phenomenal.
baseball player. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I think my favorite scene set piece as far as singing goes is actually when she's at the nightclub and the other people are there when Sammy set her up. Yeah, it's hilarious because she's wearing which is probably culturally insensitive, but she's wearing like fans. Like the hand fans, and she's wearing them over every sensitive area of her body, and as the song goes on, the fans like slap shut. It's so fantastically choreographed. It's hilarious. And the way she plays it, like when she's realized that her boyfriend is watching
Fiance,
and going to be at that point, and going to be embarrassed by it. Which, I mean, that was kind of fucked up too. Ta is our protagonist, basically. Kind of. Or I guess there
are a lot of
I guess San is technically. I don't know who the protagonist is. This is kind of a convoluted story, but to be completely so dismissive of her because she's a entertainer. It's interesting because you have this conflict between old world and new, where his father is very controlling. Like, there's this whole song about how his father is like refuses to put his money in the bank, and it has the whole generational song. Like, he won't put his money in the bank. He doesn't trust anything but his stuff, and his son is becoming Americanized, and he's trying to arrange him in a good old fashioned marriage, and his son wants to chase these new things. But then the second his son knows that his fiance is a stage performer at a nightclub, he's like, ugh! And he immediately runs back to the woman that he didn't give a shit about earlier. Yeah, and she rightly is like, no, fuck you. Like, but then
good for her.
Yeah, but then they end up together anyway.
I know.
It's like,
it's love. Sometimes you love people.
I mean, this is 1961, so the Hays Code was gone, but it reminds me of like Hays Code movies where like they can't, like, you can't end it on bad things. Like in the Hays Code, the criminals could never win. You had to end it with the criminals losing because they were worried about like sending a message of promoting crime.
Sometimes the bad people win.
So yeah,
and it's unfortunate, but it's true.
But this movie seemed like we can't like, we have to undo the good thing that happened. It seemed like the opposite of that, where it's like it had to be a happy ending. So these two people that should not have been together because he treated this woman like shit, and he gets away with treating the handmaiden like shit, who in the book, as we said, commits suicide after he rejects her. Yeah. They wrote that part out of the story by just having her disappear after she gets rejected. And then he goes back to the woman and she rightly tells him to screw off. And then she changes her mind and they're happy at the end. Yay. This is not a great. I know. It's not a great film. Flower Drum Song.
It was not my favorite musical.
It's also like, I guess maybe the book focused more on the Flower Drum Song, because like in the film, she sings it at the very beginning, and
she sang it like twice because that was the thing she sang on the Flower Drum Song whenever she met the family that she ended up marrying into.
Yeah.
Anyways,
disappointing.
It wasn't the best.
No, I'm glad I watched it.
I'm glad that I watched it as well, but I am happier about the movie that you chose.
Me too, because of my movie.
What's your movie, Scott?
Say I tell you what my movie is.
Say I like what movie it is that we watched.
Say we move on to say the title of the movie.
Say you tell me the title.
Well, that tears it. We watched Double Indemnity, the 1944 film noir movie written by Billy Wilder and Raymond Chandler and directed by Billy Wilder. Wilder, why am I saying Wilder?
Because you got to say it in the right way.
Yeah.
Billy Wilder.
You might know from other films
such as what, Scott?
Some Like It Hot, The Apartment, Sabrina, Sunset Boulevard. Billy Wilder is a wonderful, wonderful director and writer who's made some of the best movies ever. And this is one that I had never seen.
Why'd you not have seen it, Scotty?
So this movie is about an insurance representative that lets himself be talked into a murder insurance fraud scheme that arouses an insurance investigator's suspicion. That is a handful. Whoever wrote that summary. Yeah, so this is film noir. This is in the...
That just means it's black and white, right?
I mean, technically...
Yep. Thank you. Black and white film noir.
I think we have to talk about film noir a little bit before we talk about this movie, because this is a term...
Educate, please.
Yeah, film noir is a term written by a French critic to describe a certain type of movies. It literally means in French black film. But I
knew it was a black and white movie.
But what it means is
noir.
But what it means is dark film. These are movies about like the seedy underbelly. They're about crime. They're about bad people and bad things happen. They usually do not have happy endings. They've been called, like, they usually also involve sex in some way, not like specifically sex, but like sexual attraction that gets people in trouble. Like,
suppose we have an insurance agent and a married wife.
Exactly. The classic film noir staple is the mysterious woman who evil woman who guilts an innocent man into doing bad things.
Why is it always the woman's
because
fault?
Women are bad.
What?
That's what film noir says. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing about film noir, of course, is that it was a term like again, assigned to a certain type of Hollywood film that they didn't use until like after the heyday, really. Like I think a French guy said it in like a couple of years after this movie came out, but in America, the term really wasn't used to describe these films until like after the late 50s, which is where this style went out of vogue a little bit. But I have always been fascinated by these noir type films. LA Confidential. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not seen that movie.
We're gonna have to watch it. That's a 90s movie that's kind of like a treatment on a film noir
but Scott,
thing.
If I like LA
Kevin
Confidential,
Spacey in it, though, I can't like
and
it
then
anymore.
You change the title of the movie to New York, can I still like the movie if I don't like New York?
No.
Okay.
Because a lot of times noir movies do take place in LA. They do take place in LA a lot. Because it's like the kind of the seedy underbelly of the glamour, the ritz and glamour of Hollywood. Yeah.
This one did take place in LA because it was the Los Feliz.
It did.
Right?
It was in LA, yeah.
We went to Los Feliz.
So
it was nice.
I'd never seen this movie before. This movie is number 28 on AFI's list of 100 greatest movies of all time, American movies. And I'd been meaning to watch it forever. And I got to tell you, Elyse, this is a freaking great movie.
It was awesome.
This is like,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was so glad because after my movie, I thought, oh, man, this is kind of disappointing. I didn't really like it. But I did really enjoy this one.
So our leads are Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck, who, holy crap, like the big thing to make noir work is the
woman.
The sexual tension between the leads has to be there. Like the movie lives or dies on whether or not you can believe that this gullible insurance man gets sucked into this world of crime by this no good woman. And
man, did they play each other.
God. The opening scene between the two of them, we're gonna put it in because it is like some of the it's like this like you could take it out of the movie and just use it as an example of a great scene between two actors that clearly have wonderful chemistry. And it's just it's the way Wilder writes dialogue, and they just bounce off each other and they play it so well. It's so good.
Wish you'd tell me what's engraved on that anklet.
Just my name.
As for instance?
Phyllis.
Phyllis, huh? I think I like that.
But you're not sure.
I'd have to drive it around the block a couple of times.
Mr. Neff, why don't you drop by tomorrow evening around 8:30? He'll be in then.
Who?
My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but I'm sort of getting over the idea, if you know what I mean.
There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff. 45 miles an hour.
How fast was I going, officer?
I'd say around 90.
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Suppose I let you off with a warning this time.
Suppose it doesn't take.
Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
Suppose I bust out crying and put my head on your shoulder.
Suppose you try putting it on my husband's shoulder.
That tears it. "8:30 tomorrow evening, then.
That's what I suggested.
Will you be here, too?
I guess so. I usually am.
Same chair, same perfume, same anklet?
I wonder if I know what you mean.
I wonder if you wonder.
And I mean, this is what gets you into the whole movie now. You have this set attraction between these two people. She's kind of fishing, even in this early meeting, for like, what about accident insurance, and trying to get him in. And,
hey, what about this?
And it's so, and the movie, like, it's so interesting because Walter, his name is Walter, the insurance guy, he's the one that does all the stuff. Like she convinces him. She even makes him seem like it's his idea too. And you can kind of see, I mean, like, we kind of have a meta knowledge of noir at this point where you can know where this whole thing is going. But I like that the movie also kind of bookends itself with, the movie opens with Walter Neff walking into his empty insurance agency. He sits down at a desk, takes off a jacket. You see a bullet wound in his arm, and he pulls out a recording device and starts telling the story of the movie. And I like that it's bookended with that because, like, we as people that know what noir is know that shit's going to go down that's wrong. But I think in 1946, before this was in the middle of the craze and people didn't really understand what this style of film was yet, like, it sets expectations like there's a good way to have flashback scenes in a movie, and there's a bad way. And there's a movie we saw this weekend that had a pointless way to have flashbacks. That movie Alpha, which started in media res.
Didn't even need to have it.
It was a waste of time.
Dumb.
But this movie, it just works so perfectly. I love how the plot weaves. I love how it this is vintage noir. This is everything that I love about the genre of filmmaking, all in the same place. And I could not get enough of it. The directing, the cinematography, like this is a black and white film, but how it uses color and light in a black and white film, like the characters move in and out of shadows, and how it uses those shadows to depict the state of the characters, and how they weave around each other. Oh, I love it so much, Elyse. I'm so glad I watched this movie.
I'm glad too. I'm glad that we have as much chemistry as the two in the movie.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's like Wilder wrote.
What did you like about this
He
movie?
writes our life, Scott.
Well, I hope not,
it's
because
our dialogue.
She didn't really love him. She was just pretending.
I mean, I'm not pretending to love you, but I think we've got great chemistry. You know, it really builds. It bounces.
I would very much appreciate that you not compare our love life to this movie.
I'm not saying, I mean, compare, contrast. We can say some similarities and some differences. Both. We actually have a healthy relationship and actually care for each other. And that's good. I'm happy with that. I liked the movie. I really liked watching their relationship. They were very funny. You kept watching and thinking, man, guy's got game. And it was really enjoyable. And then watching you laugh and cackle to the side about how funny you think that his game is. And you were like,
I was so.
Oh, you were just like,
I had a visceral reaction to this movie.
It was like a full body experience for you watching this movie. And I think that I enjoyed that almost as much, if not more, than watching the movie itself. Yeah.
I mean, every scene these two are in together is just electric.
It is.
Every single
just
scene.
like us.
Yes.
See, we'll compare those
Stop
two.
It, because
it's so good.
She's lying, though, and
but
she's
I'm not.
cheating
That's
on her
where
husband
it's different.
And committing
I'm
insurance
not doing
fraud.
any of those things. We don't even have life insurance.
Yeah, we need to get that.
We should get it.
So I can throw you off of a train.
That would be unfortunate.
What kind of person throws someone off a train at 15 miles an hour?
He didn't even report that his leg was broken. That's suspicious.
Yeah, the way the plan unravels is so wonderful too, because it's one of those like crime ideas that when they lay it out for you in the movie, you're like, oh shit, yeah. That's a really, like, the thing you came up with is a really good idea. And then the other insurance adjuster, Neves, I think is his name, the way he, like, spots the bullshit in it is, like, so fantastic.
It's great.
And it's just, like, it's like a really tight script. Like, everything comes together. It pays off in wonderful ways. I almost don't want to spoil the end.
Oh, I'm sorry if I spoiled it. Did I spoil it?
How'd you spoil it? I don't think you spoiled it.
Okay. Sorry if I spoiled it for you guys.
Hey, the movie doesn't end on a good note. So.
We have movies in color now.
That's not what it.
We don't have these movies in black and white anymore. They're all in color.
You're doing the Southern accent again.
Scarlett. Oh, Scarlett. Why? I don't know.
So, anything else you want to say about this movie?
Everyone should go see it. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Because I don't want to talk a whole lot about it, and I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, but it was really good. I liked it a lot more than Flower Drum Song.
Yeah.
And there was no good choreography in it. But Scott, we talked about the movies that we watched this week. What are we going to do next week?
Oh, we're done? We're not going to talk about Double Indemnity anymore?
Did you have anything else to say about it?
I was going to talk about all the movies that I learned that you need to see from this, because you haven't seen The Apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen Some Like It Hot?
No.
Oh, baby. We got some work to do.
We do.
But
that's not what we're going to do about next week.
No, Valley is going to be on for a long time.
It is.
Some Like It Hot is an amazing, hilarious, wonderful movie.
I don't think that I've seen it, but I might have. It's like one of those movies. I don't know.
All right, so now I will give you permission to move on. This is going to be a short episode.
As we move on, we will watch more
we'll just,
movies or
TV. Elyse singing.
Yeah, I was off with syllables. I am sorry, but I'll get better.
So this is the last week in August, which means next month is September, which means...
The time starts moving and the TV starts coming back and... Sorry. You can go.
Why don't you do it?
No. It's September, which means TV shows are coming back.
Which actually is true less and less these years.
I know, they keep pushing it back later and later now.
Well, no, because there used to be set time when TV shows came back. Like TV shows came back in September, and then they took off right before Christmas, and then they came back in January. Yeah. But now we have TV shows starting mid, like some start in October, some start in November, some start in January, some don't start till
Can we just get all on the same calendar, people?
No, it's crazy. Like summer used to be a dead time for shows, but now we have all these summer shows now. But
sometimes they release all the episodes at once.
For all the big networks, TV is coming back next month. So we thought we would spend the month of September. Talking about television.
Yay!
And talking about some of our favorite shows. So we're going to do this a little different. We have talked about TV once before on this show.
Yeah, we talked about women in TV.
Yeah,
right?
We're doing it a little different this time. So each and every week this month, we're going to talk about favorite shows from different time periods in our life. So
I'm so excited about
when
this.
we were kids, some of our favorite teen dramas, our favorite shows to watch in college, early adulthood, and then some of the favorite shows that we are watching right now that the other person doesn't watch. That's what we're going to finish up the month with. But that means that next week, we're going to start with childhood. So we're going to talk about and make the other person watch a few episodes of a TV show we watched a lot when we were kids, little kids. So Elyse, what did you watch?
When I was little, I adored Mary-Kate and Ashley. And when I was 9-10 years old, they came out with this new show called Two of a Kind. It was part of TGIF. And
it was?
Yes.
I guess that was after I stopped watching TGIF.
It was. I
was like 15.
We are going to watch Two of a Kind, Mary-Kate and Ashley. Iconic. It's on YouTube. You can't watch it anywhere else.
I selected Batman, the Animated Series. This is the series of Batman cartoons that started in 1992. So I was 7 years old. I remember this because I had just moved to Texas when I was watching them. But I thought about doing Ninja Turtles. I thought about doing Ghostbusters because I watched both of those cartoon shows as well a lot. But we've already done the movies for those, so I wanted to do something new. So we're going to talk about Batman the Animated Series. Those of you out there listening, if you the cool thing about this one is it's not like serialized storytelling, so we can pick any episodes we want. So if you have any idea for really good episodes of Batman the Animated Series, or if you watch Elise's show.
I know you guys probably don't watch Two of a Kind, so we're just going to watch whatever episodes are actually on YouTube, and it's fine.
Yeah, so just let me know what Batman the Animated Series episodes you think are best demonstrate the show, and I will take your consideration under advisement when I pick the episodes that I'm making Elyse watch. So that's next week. We will start our TV month. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait to show Elyse all these weird shows I watched during different parts of my life. So that's all we have time for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows out at doofmedia.com. Also consider donating to our Patreon account, patreon.com/doofmedia. And if you happen to be listening via Apple Podcasts, well, you head on over there and leave us a rating and a review. We really like those. So I think that's it, Elyse.
I think so too, Scotty. I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
We'll see you guys next week.
Suppose I love you.
Suppose I let you.
Suppose we end this podcast.
Suppose we do.
Bye. Checking on the mic, checking on the mic, checking on the mic, checking on the mic, check check on the mic, check on the mic, checking on the mic.
How you doing, Mike?